My name's Jahan Ramazani, and on behalf of the Center for Poetry and Poetics and my collaborator in organizing this event, the omnicompetent Zarif, and our co-sponsors, the Creative Writing Program, and of course the English Department, I'm delighted, excited, and maybe even a little affrighted to welcome you to tonight's reading and book signing by the poet Patricia Smith. Delighted and excited, obviously, who wouldn't be, but affrighted? Well, how to encapsulate such a massive and multifaceted achievement in a few introductory words? After all, who else can lay claim to being the apotheosis of spoken word poetry as a 4-time individual National Poetry Slam champion and the winner of a slew of august literary awards, including the Poetry Foundation's Ruth Lilly Prize for Lifetime Achievement, and as of a few days ago, for her just published The Intentions of Thunder, New and Selected Poems, finalist, yet again, for the National Book Award. Who else has written in such a stunning variety of voices? A resentful, violent white supremacist, and the water-sucking, roof-devouring maw of Hurricane Katrina. A single dazed and bewildered old black woman left to die during that storm, and a chorus of mothers bitterly and furiously grieving the losses of their sons and daughters to police violence. Who else has renewed such a cornucopia of open and received forms, from the unrhymed, unmetered, propulsive narrative arc of spoken word to exquisitely crafted sonic crowns, the villanelle, the sestina, the tanka, the ghazal, the double golden shovel, blank verse, syllabics, rhyming iambic pentameter. Who else has encompassed such intimate personal experience, whether the gush of iron smell and black thick splash of a first period, the weary anxious woe of tending to an incarcerated son, the can't bring you back grief and shock of losing a father to a bullet, while also exploring the epic expanse of public African American history, from the Middle Passage, enslavement, and Jim Crow, to, in her words, Dear George, Trayvon, Breonna, Bree, Tamir. Who else is metabolized in poetry such an array of other genres? TV cartoons like Popeye and Olive Oil, musical modes like Motown and jazz, news bulletins like weather and police reports, 19th century photographs of unknown portrait sitters, even a product FAQ for Lysol, sadly unread by a mother intent on bleaching her daughter's skin. Who else has packed sibilants, plosives, assonances, and clamorous musical clusters into syntax so sinewy, muscular, and tightly wound that it conjures with Apollo, Dionysus, and Atlas all at once? Who else? Students, colleagues, community members, fellow poetry lovers, please help me tie the knot on this too dang long anaphoric string of who else questions with an answer in the form of a warm welcome for no one else, no other than the one and only Patricia Smith.
Into that, I was looking around like, is she here? Who is that? That's the best introduction I have ever had. Thank you so much. I already was feeling quite welcome here. I have to thank all of you who I have met already, and those of you who I have not met yet, but will. Thank you all for being so gracious. It's been an amazing couple of days. and I can't wait to come back. I love it. I usually, actually for years, started all my readings with the same poem. And we have question and answer after this, so I'll leave a lot of my talking, although I probably will say a little something before each poem because I think people are very curious about where poems come from. This is a poem for a little girl named Nicole. One of the first trips I took as a poet was to Miami, and I went there. It was early on. I was kind of bounding into the classroom saying, I'm here to teach you poetry. The area that I was in had a high incidence of drug use, so a lot of the kids had lost parents, siblings to drug abuse and AIDS. So she wanted me to teach her to write a poem about her mother who had just died. So this is dedicated to the 6th grade class at Lily C. Evans Elementary School in Dade County, Miami, which they've made me promise to say every time I do the poem. I'm astonished at their mouthful names. Lacanicia, Chevelane, DeLeo, Fumaleo. Their ragged rebellions and lip gloss pouts and all those pants drooped as drapery. I rejoice when they kiss my face, whisper wet and urgent in my ear, make me their obsession because I have brought them poetry. They shout me raw, bruise my wrist with their pulling, and brashly claim me as mama as they cradle my head in their little laps, waiting for new words to grow in my mouth. You. Angry, jubilant, weeping poets, we are all saviors, reluctant hosannas in the limelight, but you knew that, didn't you? So let us bless this 6th grade class. 40 cracking voices, 40 nappy heads, and all of them raise their hands when I ask. They have all seen the Reaper, grim in his heavy robe, pushing the button for the Dead Project elevator, begging for a break at the corner pawn shop, cackling wildly in the back pew of the Baptist church. I asked the death question, and 40 fist punched the air. Me! In O'Neill, Matchstick Crackchild watched his mother's body become a claw. And 9-year-old Tico Jefferson, barely big enough to lift the gun, fired a bullet into his throat when Mama bended his back with a lead pipe. Tamika cried into a sofa pillow when Daddy blasted Mama into the north wall of their cluttered one-room apartment. Danya's cousin, gone in a drive-by, dark window, click, 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 gone, says Danya, her tiny finger a barrel, the thumb a hammer. I am astonished at their losses. And yet when I read a poem about my own hard-eyed teenager, Jeffrey asks, is he dead yet? Cannot be comprehended. My 18-year-old still pushing and pulling his own breath. And 40 faces pity me, knowing that I will soon be as they are, numb to our bloodied histories, favoring the Reaper with a thumbs up and a wink, hearing the question and shouting, Me, Miss Smith, I know somebody dead. Can poetry hurt us, they ask me, before crawling into my words to sleep? I love you, Nicole says. Nicole wearing my face, pimples peppering her nose, and she is as black as angels are. Nicole's braids kissed with match flame to seal them. And can you teach me to write a poem about my mama, Miss Smith? I mean, you write about your daddy, and he's dead. Can you teach me to remember my mama? A teacher tells me this is the first time Nicole has admitted that her mother is gone. Murdered by slim silver needles and a stranger rifling through her blood, the virus pushing her skeleton through for Nicole to see. And now this child with rusty knees and mismatched shoes sees poetry as her scream and asks me for the words to build her mother again, replacing the voice, stitching on the lost flesh. So poets, as we pick up our pens, as we flirt and sin and rejoice behind microphones, remember Nicole. She knows that we are here now, and she is an empty vessel waiting to be filled. And she is waiting. And she is waiting. And she waits. I'm going to go back to some early poems. I watch a lot of bad movies. And this poem was inspired by the Clash of the Titans. Not the new one, the old one. You know the old one where you're getting ready for school or something and you see the skeletons fighting and you just call in sick, like I can't go be there today, I have to watch the rest of this movie. So this was Jason coming upon Medusa. And so I said, oh wow, this is pretty cool. I wonder how Medusa got to be Medusa. And I remember reading a lot of mythology, and Medusa got in trouble the same way a lot of women do. They, screwed around with the wrong guy. And so Poseidon just happened to be Athena's beau. And Athena was like, oh, no, you didn't. And so this is happening. This is what's happening. This is Medusa as her body is going through those changes. You know the changes, right? The hair, the stone, that stuff. Okay. Poseidon was easier than most. He calls himself a god, but he fell beneath my fingers with more shaking than any mortal. He wept when my robe fell from my shoulders. I made him bend his back for me, listen to his screams break like waves. We defiled that temple the way it should be defiled, squirming and bucking our way from corner to corner. You know, the bitch goddess probably got a real kick out of that. I'm sure I'll be hearing from her. She'll give me nightmares for a week or so, that I can handle. Or she'll turn the water in my well into blood. I'll scream when I see it, and that'll be that. Maybe my first child will be born with the head of a fish. I'm not even sure it was worth it. Poseidon pounding away at me like a madman, losing his immortal mind because of the way my copper skin swells in moonlight. Now my arms smoke and itch. Hard scales are rising on my wrist like armor. Come on, Athena. He was just another lay, and not a particularly good one at that, even though he could spit steam from his fingers. I won't touch him again. Promise. And we didn't mean to drop to our knees in your temple, but our bodies were so hot and misaligned. It's not every day a gal gets to sample a god, you know that. Why are you being so rough on me? I feel my eyes twisting, the lids crusting over and boiling, the pupils glowing like red coals. Athena, woman to woman, could you have resisted him? Would you have been able to wait for the proper place, the right moment to jump those immortal bones? Now my feet are tangled with hair. My ears are gone. My back is curving and my lips have grown numb. My garden boy just shattered at my feet. Damn it, Athena! Take away my father's gold. Send me away to live with lepers. Give me a pimple or two. But my face, to have men never again be able to gaze at my face, growing stupid in anticipation of that first touch. How can any woman live like that? How can I watch their warm bodies turn to rock when their only sin was desiring me? They just want to see me sweat. They just want to touch my face and run their fingers through my hair. Is it moving? Okay. I'm stuck on these old poems today. So, you know how when Americans travel, they try to act like they already know everything? Oh, that would be the... So, one of my first times going abroad as a poet, I went to Paris. And I went with a friend of mine named Michael War and his wife, Patricia Zamora. And Patricia Zamora and I kind of went a little crazy in the Louvre. So much so that it was a day that they were closing early, and they were closing and they had to send someone to look for us because we were not leaving. So this is about that joy of discovery and of not knowing things and finding them out in great ways. So this is called Doing the Louvre. You're a junkie just like I am. After we dump your husband in the Louvre's cafe to sip the steaming tea and chew on his poetry, we're off like schoolgirls, screeching in duet, dazzled by the bright, eternal gasp of ancient things. We've got no business here, homegirl and compañera. We've got no business working our mouths around this sharp, exquisite language or savoring the sweet tongue squeeze of pastries, shining cakes, and shaved chocolates. We're of simpler stock, city and country dust, collard greens, moon pies, bullet holes, and basement slow dances. We are shamelessly American, rough street girls with rusty knees, the flip side of cocky Parisian wisp in slim cashmere coats the color of tobacco. Girlfriend, you and I are too much scream for this place, but you're a junkie just like I am. Too long denied access to official beauty, we walk these streets with our mouths open and faces tilted up, swallowing everything, swallowing it all, much too much scenery and sound for our thin American throats. We gawk at cathedrals with their gargoyles bleached to an eerie snarl by bright slashes of moon. Say goodbye when we mean yes. Good morning when we mean how much. Ask for bread when we need the toilet. We are amazed that no one is asking for all of this back, that we are allowed to bask in this city's light. I can still hear my mama, as plain and practical as a cast iron skillet. Child, you need to stop all that foolishness over there in some France where you don't know nothing or nobody. Ain't no black folks over there no how. But I know you, old friend, with your bright burnished tangle of hair and deep laugh, and right now these halls belong to us. There are bad girls loose in the Louvre. Girls soft as gunshots. Girls nourished and fueled by silvers, silks, and the stone gaze of Napoleon. We laugh at the smashed noses of Egyptian rulers, stare at the tiny mummified feet of a young girl, mistake Goya for Gauguin, and rub what surfaces we can, including the marbled cocks of towering deities. When we say things like, "Hey, I think I saw that on a postcard once," or, "Do you know how old this thing is? How can the world help but love us?" We would give Venus our arms. After 7 hours clicking our hungry heels and snapping illicit flash photos in dark halls brimming with ancient music, we finally find the Mona Lisa. Alone. Caged and antiseptic behind that glass every woman wears, and we wonder how best to free her, knowing she's a junkie just like we are. She longs for our wild voices, our naive, accidental beauty. She's aching to ditch that frame and skip these hallowed halls with the homegirls, mistake the obscene for the exquisite, and gaze at unsolved mysteries that just for once are not her own. Ooh, let's move this around a little bit. Oh, okay. So, I think I may have told one of the classes I was in. I stayed with a lot of stories for a while. I do clippings, I move them around my desk, I'm not quite sure where they're going to be. And I've also talked about finding unexpected entry points into poems. So I'm just going to read the poem because, like I said, we've got a question and answer. But this was a story that haunted me for a long time. All right. In February 2010, 21-year-old student Samshid Abdul Rahim abducted his 3-month-old daughter Zara. He placed her in a knapsack, drove to a bridge on the Garden State Parkway in New Jersey, and threw her out of the passenger side window of his car. She drowned in the Raritan River more than 100 feet below. In November 2011, also in New Jersey, Arthur Morgan III picked up his 2-year-old daughter, Tiara, for a trip to the movies. Later, Tiara was found face down in a frigid stream beneath a park overpass, strapped into a car seat that had been weighed down with a car jack. It was unclear whether she was thrown from the overpass or carried into the park and placed in the water. The 5 stages of drowning. Surprise. There is no drunk like the drunk of milk sleep. A drizzled white floods the body and weighs down everywhere we think we knew about awake. Zara's new clockwork staggers with it, while Daddy, grizzled and wild-eyed, lobs her like trash over the rusting rail. Inside the sack, the wriggling child cannot translate fly, plummet, descend. She doesn't realize the hard questions she poses for pigeons, or how, so dull and stupid with dairy, she is all the fall the sky can language. Babies accept what they are given. They never question the morning's flood of sun, a kitchen's blaring stink, or the wide hovering faces of fathers. After a swollen breeze pries her eyes open in the few seconds it takes for the fevered discarding of daughter, baby doesn't ask the sun needling light into the sack to offer rule or direction. Zara Malani Lynn Abdur Rahim, little not bird, has been jettisoned, ditched, unloaded. Her snared arms can find no rhyme for wing. The river's glittering trash smacks her blunt, but not before her tiny O fails its role as mouth, not before language breaks its promise to wait for her. If Zara can conjure no word for word, can find no way to bellow, "Up, up, Daddy, up!" as she tumbles, stuffed inside a down, 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 reeking so oddly of him, how would she voice panic born of the day's quick fist? Slapped awake, she breathes in the close cloth and feels the little ruckus of a new heart. The startled river opens, then closes over her the way a new mother would. Involuntary breath holding. Imagine filling your whole body with everything you are and then holding it there. Imagine the smallness of that body. You are nothing but the easy of blue, red, and green, food you have smashed with your fingers, and the stumbling possibilities of walk. Imagine not knowing that the ability to contain all of you in tiny ballooned cheeks decides whether or not you continue. Imagine not knowing the word continue. Quick wisp of fish nip warily at those fat cheeks, fall into irreparable love, and decide to make a new religion of you. Hallelujah, you are now a religion, a church of slither and slide while Daddy roars his glee into noontime traffic, not thinking about you, but thinking about your mother and screeching, oh, she got another man now, huh? Well, fuck that hoe, I got something for her. I got something for her ass. Bet this is gonna fix her bitch ass now. And you, Tiara, are the fix for her ass now. You are the fix for your mother's ass now. You are the pawn in a payback that cannot be unplayed. And your daddy, now miles away from your slow plunging, does a lousy parking job and stumbles into a smoky red-walled gin mill populated by other men without daughters. Hoisting a fat gold shot, he toasts his one accomplishment, the uncomplicated removal of a complication, while your cheeks deflate and the door to your next minute closes. You were alive when the stream first lapped its way round you, and the d sound comes so sweet to the mouth of a baby who wants it. You laughed, Daddy, until the giddy fish re-examined their worship of you. You coughed, Daddy, Daddy, until Daddy was nothing but sound. Then you spat into the mud until you couldn't. The fickle fish, back in love, kissed the place where your breath had been. hypoxic convulsions. Daddy is the architect of a baby girl's roll and rock. He teaches her to manage slink, schools her in a woman's wet engine. If Zara lives, which she most definitely will not, somebody else's daddy will teach her all the one way there is not to get lured into a sack, to lay quietly in the wrong skirt while her muscles argue, how one well-timed convulsion usually clears the dance floor. Like good drowning, good dancing hits the backside like an annoyance that must be two-seat loose. But how to respond to a sudden wet that's out to rearrange? Of course, drums are injected, and Tiara, all thrash and snapdragon, shimmies for her giggle back. Baby is the battery black women build their bodies around until they're old enough to be officially romanced by yet another revision of Jesus. But right now, they're too little to feel the full hand of the Jesus voice, the caress of proverb and psalm. They're flirting with that Big Daddy for all they're worth. Look at that itty-bitty jerkin' boogaloo, that pop swirling of hips they can't find, that runaway rim shot and unfinished chest. They're rearing back, opening wide, rearing back, opening wide, rearing back, both throats opening and slamming shut with river. Cue the skanky music. Brackish water snags the rhythm, controls their arms and ankles, gleefully involves their necks. It says, baby, save the last dance for me. Unconsciousness. The river, though. Sluggish and cagey and habitually a bitch, the river has not decided to accept Zara, this vexation in her mouth. She is dazzled by choke, flopped blossoms, and the occasional seduced diver, but repulsed by all frailties of skin. The river is seldom in a mood to have her swerve scrutinized or interrupted. Now, what is this damn hindrance keeling over in my current? Prying the sack wide with gush, she prods the puckered contents, is not entertained. Intending to add the ugly pudge to her baubles, she finds that she could not rouse it, is so not entertained. The little blue knot-fish thing is flaccid, so unfun, snazzed up in its sopping petal pink, the eyes slit and rolling, nappy crown trapping living things that desperately need to breathe. The hide skids and burps. The river's most devoted feeders, so jazzed at first, have already had a go at it, and the thing won't give the river its props. Won't beg for refuge in the water's arms. It won't say anything. The river flicks a bored blue finger at it, then flicks it away. She is so over this drama. Hell, the end of anything is only a kick to watch once. Clinical death. The final stage in the drowning process is death. Clinical death occurs when both breathing and circulation stop. The victim is in cardiac arrest. The heart stops pumping blood. The vital organs are no longer receiving oxygen-rich blood. The lack of oxygen causes the skin to turn blue. There are 52 shades of blue, or 1,052,000, depending upon which river you ask. 3, cornflower. 17, cerulean. 21, blunt force. 28, turquoise. 34, navy. 37, fix for her bitch ass now. 41, sky. 47, goodbye. But the way the river says it, bye, all dismissal and shade. 52, goodbye. But the way a daddy says it, over his shoulder, thrilling the done of the deed, already mad at the traffic. So I once taught at the College of Staten Island, College of Satanic Island. Could not get my students to write. So, day of the final, I come into class, I say, good news, guys, no final. They go, yay! Carry me around on their shoulders for a while. I said, but I do have something I want you to do. I said, what was your least favorite age? You know, and what you guys? What was your least favorite age?
17.
That was specific. Anybody else? You loved all your whole life. You had no difficult ages. 17, 13, anything else? 14, 15, 16, 52. I recognize faculty's not saying anything. It's like 52. Yesterday. So their consensus was 13. And if you think about 13, your voice is cracking. If you have skin, something's wrong with it. You know, you're discovering your nether regions and don't know what to do with them. So I said, okay, here's your new final. I want you to write a poem about being 13. I want it to be 13 stanzas, 13 lines each stanza, and 13 syllables each line. Whenever I give my students something wacky like that, which is often, I do it too. So my 13 was not like their 13. Some things were like universally miserable, but I'm not going to read all 13 of these. I'll read like 4 of them. Okay. 13 ways of looking at 13. 1. You touch your forefinger to the fat clots in the blood, then lift its iron stench to look close, searching the globs of black scarlet for the dimming swirl of dead children. You thread one thick pad's cottony tail, then the other, through the little steel guides of the belt. You stand and lift the contraption, press your thighs close to adjust the bulk, then bend to pull up coarse white cotton panties bleached blue, and just to be safe, you pin the bottom of the pad to the shredding crotch of the Carters. Then you spritz, nobody knows what I'm talking about. Then you spritz the guilty air with the cloying kiss of FDS. It's time to begin the game of justifying ache. Time to name the mystery prickling right in your skin. You're convinced the boys can smell you, and they can. Okay. 3. Miss Stein scribbled a word on the blackboard, said, "Who can pronounce this?" And the word was anemone. And from that moment, you first felt the clutter of possible in your mouth. From the time you stumbled through the rhythm and she slow smiled, you suddenly knew you had the right to be explosive, to sling syllables through back doors, to make up your own damn words if you wanted them. All that day, sweet anemone tangled in your teeth, spurted sugar tongue, led you to the dictionary where you were assured that it existed, to the cave of the bathroom where you warbled it in bounce echo, and finally, convinced you owned that teeny gospel. You wrote it again and again and again and 4. Trying hard to turn hips to slivers, sway to stutter, you walk past the Sinclair station where lanky boys, dust in their hair, dressed in their uniforms of oil and thud, rename you pussy with their eyes. They bring sounds and shudder and blue from their throats just for you, serve up ancient sonata of skin drum and conch shell, sing suggesting woos of AM radio. Boom, boom, how you just gonna walk on by like that? And suddenly you know why you are stitched so tight, crammed like a flash bomb into pinafore, obeying your mama's instructions to be a baby as long as you can. Because it's a man's world, and James Brown is gasoline. The other side of slow zippers. He is all of it. The pump, the growled, please, please, please. 8. In the bathroom of the whatnot joint, I have to ask though, did anybody else put their father's white shirt on their head with the sleeves hanging down both sides and walk around? No? Okay, just me then? Oh yeah, okay. Good. Okay. In the bathroom of the whatnot joint on the way to school, you get rid of the starched and billowed lace, barrettes taming unraveling braids, white knee socks, and sensible hues. From a plastic bag, you take out electric blue eyeshadow, platforms with silver glittered heels, neon fishnets, and a blouse that doesn't so much button as suggest shut. The transformation takes 5 minutes, and you emerge feeling like a budding lady, but looking in retrospect like a blind streetwalker bursting from a cocoon. This is what television does. Turns your mother into clueless backdrop, fills your pressed head with the probabilities of thrum. Your body becomes just not yours anymore. It's a dumb little marquee. 9. I said I was going to read 4. 9. I keep looking at what, I looked out and saw somebody and said, oh, she wants to hear this one. Okay. This is what I meant when I talked about the shirt on the head. 9. With your bedroom door closed, you are a skyscraper bouffant, peach foundation, eyelashes like upturned claws. You are exuding ice, pinched all over by earrings. You are way too much woman for this room. The audience has one chest, a single shared chance to gasp. They shudder, heave, waiting for you to open your mouth and break their hearts. Taking the stage, you become an S, pour ache into hip swings, tisk tisk as the front row collapses. Damn, they want you. You lift the microphone, something illegal comes out of you, a sound like titties and oil. I wrote that, titties and oil. What was on my mind? How do titties and oil sound? Okay, anyway, a sound like titties and oil. Mama flings the door open with a church version of your name. Then you are pimpled, sexless, ash, and double Dutch knees. You are spindles. You are singing into a hairbrush. You're painful, right? Oh. 13. 13. You're almost 14. And you think you're ready to push beyond the brutal wisdoms of the 1 and the 3, but some nagging crave in you doesn't want to let go. You suspect that you will never be this unfinished, all Hail Mary and precipice, stuttering sachet, fuses in your swollen chest, suddenly lit and spitting, and you'll need to give your hips a name for what they did while you weren't there. You'll miss the pervasive fever that signals blooming, the sore lessons of jump rope in your calves. This is the last year your father is allowed to touch you. Sighing, you push Barbie's perfect body through the thick dust of a top shelf. There her prideful heart thunders. She has hardened you well. She has taught you everything. Oh, this way. Okay. Everybody okay? Okay. I recognize you. Okay, anyway. Oh, 95. Okay. So I'm going to do a couple of poems from Blood Dazzler. And for those of you who, there's a book, Blood Dazzler is a book about Hurricane Katrina. And in that book, Katrina is personified. So I'm going to read a couple of poems in her voice. I think, yeah. 5 p.m. Tuesday, August 23rd, 2005. Data from an Air Force Reserve Unit reconnaissance aircraft, along with observations from the Bahamas and nearby ships, indicate the broad low-pressure area over the southeastern Bahamas has become organized enough to be classified as Tropical Depression 12, National Hurricane Center. A muted thread of gray light, hovering ocean, becomes throat, pulls in wriggle, anemone, kelp, widens with the want of it all. I become a mouth, thrashing hair, an overdone eye. How dare the water belittle my thirst, treat me as just another small disturbance, try to feed me from the bottom of its hand? I will require praise, unbridled winds to define my body, and a crime behind my teeth, because every woman begins as weather. Sips slow thunder and knows her hips. Every woman harbors a chaos, can wait for it, straddling a fever. For now, I console myself with small furies, those dips in my dawning system. I pull in a bored breath. The brine shivers. 8 a.m. Sunday, August 28th, 2005. Katrina becomes a Category 5 storm, the highest possible rating. For days I've been offered blunt slivers of larger promises. Even flesh, my sweet recurring dream, has been tantalizingly dangled before me. I have crammed my mouth with buildings, brushed aside skimpy altars, snapped shut windows to bright shatter with my fingers, and I've warned them, soft, you must not know my name. Could there be other weather, other divas stalking the cringing country with insistent eye? Could there be other rain laced with the slick flick of electric and my own pissed boom? Or could this be it? Finally, my praise day. All my fist at once? Now officially a bitch, I'm confounded by words. All I've ever been is starving, fluid, and noise. So I huff a huge sulk, thrust out my chest, open wide my solo swallowing eye. You must not know. Scarlet glare fixed on the trembling crescent, I fly. Oh, and one more. So since Katrina, we did this for a dance theater production in New York, which was a realization of a dream of mine. It was wonderful. And I realized that since Katrina was personified, she had a family. And where else to go but the other hurricanes of 2005? So as you know, there's an AZ list and it goes recursively. Unless there's been a tremendous amount of damage and that name is retired forever, so there'll never be another Hurricane Katrina. And when we did the show, because the show was so heavy, at the end the lights went out and there were disco balls. And I said, ladies and gentlemen, the hurricanes of 2005, and they came out, hey. Siblings. Arlene learned to dance backwards in heels that were too high. Brett prayed for a shaggy mustache made of mud and hair. Cindy just couldn't keep her windy legs together. Dennis never learned to swim. Emily whispered her gust into 1,000 skins. Franklin, farsighted and anxious, bumbled villages. Gert spat her matronly name against the city's flat face. Harvey hurled a wailing child high. Irene, the baby girl, threw wild tantrums. Jose liked the whip sound of slapping, and Lee just craved the whip. Maria's thunderskirts flew high when she danced. Nate was mannered and practical. He stormed precisely. Ophelia nibbled weirdly on the tips of depressions. Felipe slept too late, flailing on a wronged ocean. Rita was a vicious flirt. She woke Felipe with rumors. Stan was born business, a gobbler of steel. Tammy crooned country, getting the words all wrong. Vince died before anyone could remember his name. Wilma opened her maw wide, flashing rot. None of them talked about Katrina. She was their odd sister, the blood dazzler. Oh, okay. Oh, how's everybody doing? Stretch. Okay, this is for, yeah, this is for you. This is for you. Oh boy, this is for you. Thank you. No problem. All right, so I have a friend named John Freeman. John Freeman was the editor of Lit Hub for a while. And he calls me and he says, I want you to do something for me. I said, sure. He said, I've asked a number of writers to write letters to the times we live in. And I said, that sounds great. I would love to do that. And he said, okay, gave me the deadline and stuff. And I said, how would you, are these mostly like prose things? He said, oh, yeah. I'm sure you could do it in a poem, but that would be too hard. I love it when people, so I said, okay. So what I wound up doing, I was going to write a letter to the black presence in the country, a letter to like black history. And every time I thought about, well, I'll write about this segment of black history, something else would occur to me, and I just kept going. So what you'll hear in the poem is I'm starting the letter over and over, okay? All right. It's called Salutations in Search of. Dear floaters, bloated kin, dear flooded necks and reckless leapers manic for the flow. Though you are elegant in flight, your wrecks distress the ocean's floor. The stark tableaus of sliding skin and swarms of slither set to drumbeat in your hollows. This is free, proclaimed by slavers' scourge. Do you regret rebutting scar with water? Dear debris, that ocean mothers all your rampant funk and spurts your undulating arms for you. She likes to think you are simply drunk with purpose. Dear, the voyage never knew your name. You rise in pieces, loved to death, at last unshackled. Time will hold your breath. Dear wild tumultuous, your mouth, dear God, your mouth in fevered skirmish with the tongue, just denying sound for rope or goldenrod. Dear mouth, still bulging with Atlantic, wrung into its new. Your tangled words are lashed into the back, intending to explain the gritted teeth inspected for a flash of rot, the hefted cock or breast, a chain that's wrenched away with clinging shreds of skin. Dear going to market, beauty on the block, seed driven deep. Dear chartered womb, within you squirms a tendency, a paradox. You trusted voyage, trust to kin, and found the tongue through tumult. Now you need a sound. Dear mute contrivance, graceless drudge, dear hexed, dear wily roots and conjures, dear persist with your existence, flaunting all that flexed and bumptious brawn. Dear flagrantly dismissed, the writhing in the cottonwood, dear flail and drip, dear runaway who runs the hell away, dear prey for drooling cur, dear veil of Judas moon, its murmured decibel of light, dear cautious measurer of splay and fury in a heedless star, dear we. Dear woman who must now learn to unsay her purpose as a mute machine. Dear be that soft alive. Dear man whose beating drum was lost at sea. What nouns will you become? Dear lurch and pirouette, dear flamed facade, dear eye that won't dissolve. Your audience, obsessed with shrinkage, fancies to applaud and whoop, but damn that eye and the suspense and dogged smolder of its wide aloud. Identified, of course, and doomed to swing, you vow to witness. Your enraptured crowd, delighting in your new scene as a thing to do not wish to be seen by you. Dear languid rumba, freakish, scorch and sway, dear blackened reckoning, dear charred askew, dear stuff of nightmares seeping into day, the fire has died, there's nothing of you there, but they still see the fiction of your glare. Dear Langston, Zora, Louis, Josephine, dear Harlem, their rampaging stanzas, still explosive whether they are sugar-lean pronouncements from a horn, the thrill of stories touting faces like the ones who hallelujah every time they read themselves, or, not to be outdone, a pure astonishment of women. Need this nurture and this verb on dimming days. Dear give you back your name, dear higher ground, dear noontime strutter, balancing pince-nez and being Negro all upside that town, dear swinger to a thicker harmony, dear every man they said you couldn't be. Dear migrant on a greyhound, stunned upright, or crammed into a wheezing Plymouth, or bewildered by the rails soon to ignite beneath your seat, dear locked and shuttered door with you on both the sides. Dear bound to be more partial to the heat. Folks say the chill in old Chicago knows your bones. The key is birthing your own son and clutching till it walks with you. Dear you, already done surrendering magnolias, feigning shame at chitlins, holding that amusing gun to your own truant heart. Dear faultless aim, dear northern body scrubs at what it must, that wily scarlet slap of southern dust. Dear edgy citizen, dear crazed careen, through multitudes of all the same as you, your skittish eyes outstretched, dear seen, and then, as if on cue, unseen. You knew enough to heed the itchy siren song that cooed you through the rusty, yawning maws of factories. Dear often in the wrong direction. Dear Chicago digs its claws in you. The rank air gorgeous with disease and pay stubs. Mayor Daley's startling swell, his pocked and blustered face, an odd reprise of those you thought you'd left behind. Dear bell that keeps on ringing. Blues that hit their mark and make you dance all righteous in the dark. Dear still a nigger in all kinds of light. Dear bullseye, trees rise up on spindly toes whenever all your skin strolls by. Dear quite mistake of you, the way you dare expose your neck and walk as if you own a thing. Dear blue on you, and don't you wish there was a ship, one chance to take a frenzied wing into the ocean? Nothing but the buzz of flashers pinning you against the pass. Dear suicide, dear bullet in the back, dear in the headlights, you're not tagged to last until the morning, you are tagged to crack beneath their weight. And don't you dare believe that any one of them will let you breathe. Dear George, Trayvon, Brianna, Bree, Tamir, Alashiana, Dominic, Jamel, Antonio, D'Angelo, Romir, Ashante, Botham, Terrence, John, Chanel, Stefan, Philando, Kentry, B, Laylene, Romello, Emmett, Eleanor, Monte, Janisa, Kiki, Alton, Mac, Francine, Tanisha, Eric, Dominic, Renee, Michelle, Elijah, Nia, Amadou, Akai, Monina, Cortez, Kentry, Sean, Alberta, Michael, Gabriella, Lou, Natasha, Brooklyn, Walter, Lee, Laquan, Ahmad, Muhammad, El Ray, Aura, Shane, Rashard, Denali, Sandra, Oscar, Blaine. Dear someone who woke up without a sun, dear damn the dawning. Echoes of a knock with no boy crouched behind it, nothing done to fix it. Dear reverberating shock, dear someone flailing, ripping at the air, dear hollow where he was, dear someone who's obsessed with resurrecting him, who dares believe the muck of bullet hole and bruise will ever breathe as anything but dead. Dear someone loving body on its way to being only body, just that red and syrupy annoyance hosed away when street decorum says it will. Dear damn, dear chalk all washed to none, dear traffic jam. Dear woman wounded by the things you've heard, dear angry all your days, dear vibing wire on top of your head, dear better watch the words you say to white folks, don't make them tired of you, dear wish you'd pinch those nostrils down, that nose is half your face, dear talk too loud, dear stay out the sun, you fool around, get blacker than you are, what, you too proud to settle for that ordinary man, gonna be too late real soon, dear press those naps, and don't you tell me that you plan on yelling about that Black Lives Matter mess, dear who in the hell do you think you are? Dear, who in the hell do you think you are? Dear someone who woke up without a sun and spun the blues. The singer moaned so hard the record skipped to save itself. Dear done so wrong. Dear frying lettuce in the lard. Dear wonder could a matchbox hold your clothes. Your child's been scraped up off the boulevard. Since then, ain't seen yourself. Do you suppose some rebel yell can find you and hit you hard? Dear someone who has chosen just to rust instead of breathe, here's how they lied to you. Your child will keep on dying, and you must keep punching play to watch him blue and blue until he trends. Then he's a photograph who laughs at you and rips himself in half. I rip another page in half. Dear, and start again. Dear floaters, bloated kin, dear flooded necks, dear wild tumultuous your mouth, dear God, dear mute contrivance, graceless drudge, dear hexed, dear lurchin pirouette, dear flame facade, dear Langston Zora, Louis Josephine, dear migrant on a greyhound stunned upright, dear edgy citizen, dear crazed careen, dear still a nigger in the neon's night, dear George, Trayvon, Brianna, Bree, Tamir, dear someone who woke up without their son, dear woman wounded by the things you hear, dear anyone who wakes without the sun. Let's see. Okay. Everybody good? Okay. Okay, so I think in all my travels the last few days, I think somebody asked me in class and also during my interview today about the things that were most difficult for me to access. And one of them was admitting that my mother and I were not close and had never really been close. And there was a time in my life my mother stopped talking to me for 10 years. And then she called me like nothing had happened. So as she got older, and I thought, well, maybe as she gets older, I'll develop more feeling. And I didn't, and she didn't. So anyway, this was a poem that was hard in coming, but it came. So, the price of the end of it. But now it's her stooped body in cue for the slab, her blessed temperature you're fiddling with, and God's holy directive shifts accordingly. Your mother holds the tasteful funeral home brochures an inch from her eyes until their horrible words unblur, shakes her head at the insane cost of the gilded, Paul-born tribute she truly craves, asks again for whatever's cheap. May her Lord forgive you as you just keep shuffling that cremation info to the top of the pile. You remember how stupidly she bobs her napped head to the wagging finger of God, God again, always God, how resolutely she clutches all the bluish notes in gospel. For her, the fire next time is not a frugal means of disposing of soulless shells. It is payback for a life clawed together outside of her Savior's cold little classroom. Oh, never you mind the lesson she drilled into you after a handgun blasted your father out of the world. What she said to end your bouts of snot and fever, your worrisome new habit of snatching tufts of hair from your own head and screaming the onsets of dawn. Your daddy's not in that old body anymore, and you unrolled your eyes just in time to look that pliant, just in time to make her think you believed her. Now that she has refused the neat conclusion of ash, you are thinking of all the damned reams of paperwork glorious ceremony requires, the feel of scrawling your name over and over to officially end her. There will be too many syrupy flowers draped over everywhere, the casket lid flipped open, your oblivious mother's vaguely whorish makeup job. You dread the hearse's eerie creep through annoyed Ubers, the depressing pit, mourners, sneaking cell snaps, taking note of your absence of ache. While this strange woman comparison shops, zeroing in on the pauper special, girl, what is a cloth casket? You remember years of screaming her name into a dead phone after she scrubbed her whole history of your needy little face. Now that she is frail and beholding, you should demand that she answer for that kind of love. Or you can love that way too. Go on, throw a match into her hair. Okay, I might be running out of poems. Okay. Somebody asked me one time, they said, could you read some of your funny poems? And I don't have any. I don't have any. Actually, I have one, but I'm going to do this first. I'm going to do a couple of things from Incendiary, a funny poem, a new poem, and then I'm going to finish. Okay? Because it's been like an hour and a half, right? How long has it been?
2 minutes. It's been 2 minutes.
People are back there like, hell no, it hasn't been 2 minutes. It's been a long ass time. 2 minutes. Ooh, I've cursed enough for one day, I think. Never. Never, says the entire University of Virginia. Okay. This isn't the funny one. This is my other. I've been talking a lot about this poem. It's a poem about my dad, and what this. I was Still am. This is a crazy daddy's girl. And after my father died, I was going to try to write this big poem. Anyway, that's okay. We have a question to answer. I'm just going to do the poem. When the burning begins. The recipe for hot water cornbread is simple. Cornmeal, hot water. Mix till sluggish, then dollop in a sizzling skillet. When you smell the burning begin, flip it. When you smell the burning begin again, dump it onto a plate. You've got to wait for the burning and get it just right. Before the bread cools down, smear it with sweet salted butter and smash it with your fingers. Crumble it up in a bowl of collard greens or buttermilk. Forget that I'm telling you it's the first thing my daddy ever cooked, the first thing I ever cooked, and that my daddy was laughing and breathing and no bullet in his head when he taught me. Mix it till it looks like quicksand, he'd say, till it moves like a slow song sounds. We'd sit there in the kitchen, licking our fingers and laughing at my mother, who was probably scrubbing something with bleach or watching Bonanza or thinking how crazy we were to be burning that nasty old bread in that cast iron skillet. She always used whole milk and eggs and baked her cornbread until it was plump and sugary. When I told her that I'd made my first ever pan of hot water cornbread and that my daddy had branded it glorious, she sniffed and kept mopping the floor over and over in the same space. So here's how you do it. You take out a bowl, like the one we had with blue flowers and only one crack. You put the cornmeal in it. Then you turn on the hot water and you let it run while you tell the secret about the boy who kissed your cheek after school, or about how you really want to be a reporter instead of a teacher or a nurse like Mama said. And the water keeps running while Daddy says you will be a wonderful writer and you will be famous someday. And when you get famous, if I wrote you a letter and sent you some money, would you write about me? And he is laughing and breathing and no bullet in his head. So you let the water run into this mix until it moves like mud moves at the bottom of a river, which is another thing Daddy said. And even though I'd never even seen a river, I knew exactly what he meant. Then you turn up the fire, then you turn the fire way up under the skillet, and you pour in this mix that moves like mud moves at the bottom of a river, like quicksand, like a slow song sounds. That stuff pops something awful when it first hits that blazing skillet, and sometimes Daddy and I would dance to those angry pop sounds. He let me rest my feet on top of his while we waltzed around the kitchen, and my mother huffed and puffed on the other side of the door. When you are famous, Daddy asked me, will you write about dancing in the kitchen with your father? I say everything I write will be about you. Then you will be famous too. And we dip and swirl and spin, but then he stops and sniffs the air. The thing you have to remember about hot water cornbread is to wait for the burning so you know when to flip it. And then again so you know when it's crusty and done. Then eat it the way we did, with our fingers, our feet still tingling from dancing. But remember that sometimes the burning takes such a long time. And in that time, sometimes, poems are born. I'm going to do something. I'm just going to open to a page and read the poem. Oh, I already read that. Give me a page number, somebody. 57? 57. Okay. Somebody asked me about this poem in one of the classes. In his room with him gone. She walks into her son's room without knocking, more voyeur than nurturer, and is knocked back by the rancid air that says, man. Again, she is surrounded by the remnants of a life lived desperately. 7 baseball caps sporting the insignia of the moment, crumpled fast food bags, foil packets ripped of their condoms, posters of snarling rappers with guns in their hands and ice in their names. She can still smell her son, the deep musky growl of him, even though he is miles away, anxious, shackled. The phone rings, and it is another child with a mustache and a roar in his throat. She pictures him on all fours, snarling, the receiver in his teeth, sniffing the air for her son's blood. That one wasn't funny. Okay. So, 2 more? We'll get 2 more? Okay. That puts a little bit of importance on it. All right, I said I wouldn't do this. I did okay without doing it for most of the thing, right? I just got to find one thing, and I don't know where it is. Okay, there we go. Okay. This one and one more, and then we'll be done. Okay. So my favorite segment of the population are old black men, because you can't get away with anything when you're talking to an old black man. And they got an explanation for everything. The internet. Child, we had the internet back when, what was it, 42? Is it 42, Sam? 42? We had that worldwide, whatchamacallit thing. And so nothing you got or nothing you see, we had it, you know, and you're like, after a while you think, yeah, they probably did have the internet. Okay, then. So anyway, one of my favorite old black men is John Lee Hooker. John Lee Hooker, blues singer, about this tall. Used to wear a big Stetson hat, huge sunglasses, and his voice sounded like this. So this is called How to Be a Lecherous Little Old Black Man and Make Lots of Money. With John Lee Hooker in mind. First, you got to get the blues. This is easy if you are a person of any gender and possess a pulse, a cheating lover, a stalking lover, a used Yugo. Nobody knows what a Yugo is, eh? Yeah. Yugo? Yeah, okay. A used Yugo, a pumping heart, an empty wallet, a half-dead dog, an empty refrigerator, one last cigarette butt, a good memory, a nosy mama, a lonely room, a quick trigger, roving eyes, an addiction to whiskey, nothing but the clothes on your back, a Jones for your neighbor's wife, a Jones for your wife's neighbor, a positive test result, an itching to leave, an itching to stay, or any itching where there shouldn't be one. Rub your hands slow over your body. Feel the valleys and the wrongs. Let misery chomp your spine toward collapsing. Let it fold your whole self double. Then you can walk like John Lee Hooker do. Click shuffle, bent over nose to the ground, wearing a cocked brim felt fedora that wouldn't dare fall off. Then you can think like John Lee do. I'm old as Victrola. Gotta buy a bottle of Mrs. Butterworth if I want to feel a woman. Okay. But I can still sing better than you. Mrs. Butterworth, she still got it going on? They changed her hair or something. That was Aunt Jemima. They gave Aunt Jemima a perm. All right. I bet not see no white people laughing. Just joking. Okay, and then this. Only because I think I may have discussed this poem more than any other since I've been here. So I'll do this for the last thing. Thank you all. This is more than I expected. This is great. I know there are several thousand things you can do here on the University of Virginia campus. And I appreciate you coming. And once again, I'm so grateful for everything, your gracious welcome and your hospitality, and meeting so many wonderful students when I was here. You guys got any job open? No? All right. What surfaces can I use this product on? Answer. Lysol may be used on hard, non-porous surfaces throughout your home. Lysol cleans, disinfects, and deodorizes regular and non-wax floors, non-wood cabinets, sinks, and garbage pails. For painted surfaces, it is recommended that the product first be tested in a small, inconspicuous area. Can Lysol be used in the kitchen? Answer. Lysol may be used on countertops, refrigerators, non-wood cabinets, sinks, stovetops, and microwave ovens. For the bathroom, it may be used for tiles, tubs, sinks, and porcelain. And for all around the house, it may be used on floors, garbage cans, in the basement, and in the garage. Can I use this inside my refrigerator? Answer. Lysol may be used on the inside of a refrigerator. However, you must remove all food and rinse well after using the product. Can I use this to kill mold and mildew? Yes. Lysol controls the growth of mold and mildew. It kills the mold, but removal of the stain associated with mold and mildew can sometimes be tough. Can I use this to scrub the uncontrollable black from the surface of my daughter to make her less Negro and somehow less embarrassing to me? She's like the hour after midnight, that child is. Why? Yes. Begin with one Sears gray swirl dinette set chair, screeching across the hardwood on spindly steel legs. Place the offending child on the ruptured plastic of a seat. Demand that she bend her neck to grant you access to the damaged area. You know, of course, that black begins at the back of the neck. Grab a kitchen towel, a washcloth, or a sponge and soak with undiluted Lysol concentrate. Ignoring the howls of the impossibly Negro child, scrub vigorously until the offending black surrenders. There may be inflammation, a painful rebellion of skin, or slight bleeding. This is simply the first step to righteousness. The child must be punished for her lack of silky tresses, her broad sinful nose, that dark blanket she wears. Layers of her must disappear. Precautionary statements. Danger, corrosive to eyes and skin, harmful if swallowed, causes eye and skin damage. Do not get in eyes or on skin. Wear protective eyewear and rubber gloves when handling. Woman, your mission is beyond this. You must clean the child, burn the southern sun from her. If she squirms from the hurting, demand that she hold on to the sides of the chair. Soak towel or sponge with our patented holy water. Repeat application. I have tried to understand. Precautionary statements, my mother. Danger, her hatred of this. Corrosive to eyes and skin of the me that wears this. Harmful if swallowed, the monster she had. Causes eye and skin damage, the monster she wanted. Do not get in eyes or on skin. Mama, can't you read it? You want me to read it to you? I can't help being my color. I am black, I am not dirty. I am black, I am not dirty. I am black, I am not dirty. What you have birthed upon me will not come off. My hair is black crinkled steel, too short to stay plaited. My ass is wide and will get wider. You can pinch my nose, but it will remain a landscape. You cannot reverse me. What is filthy to you will never be cleansed. There is only one thing that you can change. I am not dirty, I am black. I am not dirty, I am black. I am not black, I am dirty. I am dirty, black, not black. I am black and dirty. Dirt is black. Black is dirty. You convinced me that I am what is wrong in this world. Scrub me right. Bleed me lighter. What is the difference between disinfection and sanitation? Why are there two different usage directions for each? Answer. According to the Environmental Protection Agency, disinfection is killing more than 99.99% of germs on hard, non-porous surfaces in 10 minutes and may pertain to a number of different types of bacteria and viruses. The EPA defines sanitation as killing 99.9% of bacteria in 5 minutes or less. Lysol products achieve sanitation in 30 seconds. 29, 28, 27, 26, 25, 24, 23, 22, 21, 20, 19, 18, 17, 16, 15, 14, 13, 14, 15, 14, 15, 14, 15, 14, 15, 15, 15, 15, 15, 15, 15, 15, 15, 15, 15, 15, 15, 15, 15, 15, 15, 15, 15, 15, 15, 15, 15, 15, 15, 15, 15, 15, 15, 15, 15, 15, 15, 15, 15, 15, 15, 15, 15, 15, 15, 15, 15, 15, 15, 15, 15, 15, 15, 15, 15, 15, 15, 15, 15, 15, 15, 15, 15, 15, 15, 15, 15, 15, 15, 15, 15, 15, 15, 15, 15, 15, 15, 15, 15, 15, 15, 15, 15, 15, 15, 15, 15, 15, 15, 15, 15, 15, 15, 15, 15, 15, 15, 15, 15, 15, 15, 15, 15, 15, 15, 15, 15, 15, 15, 15, 15, 15, 15, 15, 15, 15, 15, 15, 15, 15, 15, 15, 13, 12, 11, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2. Done. Thank you.